Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette, and I'm glad you're with us to stay curious as we will become lunatics for the little bit of time here and talk about the total eclipse of the moon tonight, March 13th. Those the night of March 14th after midnight that most of you, but not Doug Forrest. He'll see it at a pretty reasonable time out there in California, Doug. I know you'll be chiming in here like you always do. Big day here. It's Shuttle Fest plus 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I mean, got Tommy Usiak in the house. We'll spin the camera around there maybe in a minute and show him. You wore a clean shirt over there. Let me look. Yep. He's here in the house, not in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I didn't do my usual opening, Marty, with my looking at the moon, but this is the best way to look at the eclipse tonight, okay? If you're not an astronomer, amateur astronomer, I'm also going to give you some photo tips with your camera. But the important part of that is your camera has to be still. So you either have to have it on a tripod or you could lay it down and use your self timer. Find that self timer button. That's the clock with the hand on it, or look it up on any manual that you can Google. But binoculars will be beautiful to look at. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to show off some of my photographs over the decades that I've photographed these eclipses, which happen twice a year somewhere on the world. And we're going to explain what's happening. So glad that you're joining us today. Marty Winkle is on the Streamlabs. I just pushed my smart tablet so I can say hello to Mark Usiak. Yes, sirree. He is in Lancaster. From one lunatic to another, he says there. Steve Jokum says, greetings, Stargazer Mark, Marty, and Tom, and everyone at Stay Curious. And Mark says it's supposed to cloud up there in Lancaster. So that is a big factor. Yeah. And if you want to become a billionaire like our rocket billionaires, you invent something that dissolves clouds. So astronomers can definitely see eclipses because that's always the chance you take. We're on Earth, and this atmosphere above us not only can block out an eclipse, but it's why we're calling it the blood red eclipse. Ooh. And I used to kind of cringe. It's too much, but it's not. To get Joe and Jane America to think about it, look up at it, and on the East Coast, 3 o'clock. If you get up in the middle of the night to take the dog out, take yourself out, whatever, can't sleep, just you go out about from quarter till 3:30, and you'll be bathed in what I'm calling earth filtered moonshine. Okay, and you can take in all you want. All right, you can't get too much of this kind of earth filtered moonshine. And so let's kick it off here. Talk a little about my pictures I had printed up, and I don't know where I left them, Marty. I have them in front of me here and put them aside. I know you got yours there too. Oh, there you have them. Great. Get my script here, folks, of how I roll here. That's basically my script of what's going on here. Keep me tuned up here. I've had a very busy day, and everybody can appreciate that. When we're doing so many things here at the American Space Museum to move us forward. Uh, and Tom Usiak's here, and he's one that, I don't know, Tom, right after COVID is when you came on the scene. So we've known each other about 4 years. You were at Shuttle Fest 1. Mm-hmm. So, and I can't thank him enough and say the people that he's brought to us through Stay Curious and other things we do. There's your time. Okay, I'll leave that up there so you can frame it or whatever you want to do. Uh, the eclipse begins when the Earth shadow takes a bite out of the moon. All right, and as I show you pretty pictures, I'm going to explain more about what all that means. Hi to Dean Babcock and Dave Stange. Everyone, happy Thursday to you all. Hope the weather's clear in Michigan for the viewing tonight. And, well, you know what they say about hopes and wishes, you got to have a backup plan there. You may have to go down south to the great state of Ohio, Dave, where it might be clear there over my neck of the woods, Northwest Ohio and Findlay. So anyway, had that a year ago when the Great American Eclipse was April 8th, or was it the 6th? I think it was the 8th. Whichever it was, I was up in Northwest Ohio for that. Mitch Rothman, good to see you from Colorado. He is in mountain time there, so his peak is at 1 o'clock in the morning. And what you're going to see is a gradual event that spans over 3 hours, as you see there, okay? The total eclipse begins at, this is totality, begins at 12:26 and lasts for about an hour, as you see there. Maximum clicks at 3. The entire eclipse starts an hour before that when a bite is taken out of the moon. That's why we have this look here, giving you some Eastern Daylight Time. This is what's happening. The Earth is casting this shadow in space, all right, like a cone. I've got a better explanation. And these are the time. And is it the Earth? It's not the Earth moving, though we are 1,000 miles an hour east, but the moon is moving 2,100 miles an hour in the opposite direction, east. The Earth is, of course, spinning in the west. I said that wrong. So at 12:55, you're not going to notice anything. As the first bites in is about 12:55, 1 o'clock, something like that. They call that deep penumbra. But it's going to be about 1 o'clock, and you'll see, oh, the full moon, and this can only occur at full moon because the moon is going in the shadow of the Earth. Now, everything casts a shadow in the Earth, and that's a picture you're going to see a little bit later, but a picture that I took that they call it the blood moon. Look at the other colors. You know, you see rouge, you see orange, you see over by the lunar edge that we call the limb as it's coming out of the eclipse totality. There's purples there, there's lavenders, there's all kinds of beautiful colors. So this is my slide to put in there to encourage you. I'm not a photographer, to do what you want with the moon. This is your eclipse to do anything you want with. Well, Mark, I don't have a camera. I don't know how to take pictures like you. You know, I'll just look at your pictures or Carlton Bailey's or what's no. Are you a poet? Are you an artist that pencil artist, a pen and ink? Maybe you're a pastel watercolor. That's a beautiful medium to draw for an eclipse, and make your impression of it, or write a short story about it. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the man jumped over the moon. All of these riddles, songs, and poems and prose that's out there about the moon are inspired by different times we see it, all right, in different seasons. And there's a lot that's been written about the blood moon that happens because of its Earth filtered moonshine, and I'll get to that in a minute. Why is it colors? Wanted to mention the history of lunar eclipses through all mankind. Can you imagine what the first caveman thought when they saw the full moon turn to probably a darkish gray color? There wouldn't be much filtering to it because the filtering comes from the Earth's atmosphere. And as you're going to see by this slide here, is the Earth's, no, not that one. Let's go to that one. There we go. Took my cheat labors off there. Wait, no. There. I went too far. I'm looking for, ooh, that was not in there. Okay. Yeah. That must not be a JPEG. I had a picture of, well, hey, always have a backup. You know me. Here's the Earth. I had a slide of this to show you the Earth. Marty's the sunshine over there, like he always is. Smile, Marty. Give me some sunshine. Right. On that UCX family microphone there. So here's the Earth spinning around. We're going 1,000 miles an hour, spinning to the west. So everything's, I'm sorry, we're spinning to the east. Duh, that's why the sun rises there, and everything is going to the west. And the moon's orbiting behind us here. And that's about the same ratio to the Earth to the Moon. The Moon is very large moon compared to its parent planet, a one-fourth the size. So as the Moon goes around, we see it at different phases, and when it gets behind here, okay, we see it as full phase. Marty's the sun. I'm sorry, Marty's the sun. He's shining. So when it gets here, we can't. There's no sunlight hitting it. But when it's back here, the sunlight hitting it extends a shadow, and that shadow, I've got it backwards. Gosh, I've had a long day, and I drove from Merritt Island with the Earth's shadow. I had it right. Marty here, and it's going behind it there. Okay, and it's above or below it. That's why we see it. We would see it anyway because it's not blocking anything as the Earth spins around. So on this side of the Earth, which I'm going to spin to North America, so China, Europe is not seeing this because we're seeing it on our side over here. That's how I'm being Mr. Professor right there. All right. On my, let's spin old Charlie Duke's signature around there instead of those dents for me dropping it. There's, yeah, there you go. Charlie Duke's signature, the moon. All right. So this is played out like this. All right. In North America is the side. They're not seeing it in Africa, China, or Australia. Cliffy, you're not seeing it, buddy, and there's the reason why, because here's the moon. The Earth's shadow is a cone that's thrown in the sky, and it doesn't blot out stars because we see stars through our shadow, just like you see your feet behind the shadow of the person that's being cast over you. Shadows on the Earth are the same principle. Everything casts a shadow, and this is the moon going through the Earth's shadow. Most full moons, 10 a year, it's either above or below the shadow. If it's spinning around here, it's above the shadow or it's below it. So we just see the full moon. Sometimes it just goes through partial shadow. All right. Think of this back here behind me as the full shadow of the moon, the inner circle. Yes, Marty, give me a break to have some sip through Dave Stangy's generous Detroit glass he got me here. What's up?
Okay, so I'll talk slowly. Anyway, Michael Bruno is asking, will the moon be completely covered by the Earth's shadow?
Yes, Michael. And that happens right when it's in the inner cone. And Michael said he lived in Miami, I believe. So that's there, that came up. Yeah. Huh. Do I have him out of sequence or I wonder what's going on? I know that confuses me. The image. There's the times. It's going to be completely in the cone circle of Earth's atmosphere, filtered out into a dark shadow, starting at 2:26 a.m. on the East Coast. Give or take a few minutes, all right, depending where you're at in longitude across the great country. 1:26 for Steve Jokums, so he can set his alarm at 2 o'clock and know that he can get up at 2 o'clock and sit in a lawn chair and have a cup of coffee to perk him up a little bit. And he's got till a half hour to sit there and be bathed in earth-filtered moonshine. Think about that, folks. And do what he ever wants to do. Write a poem, write a sketch. Listen to are the animals different? Do they come out because they were experiencing the full moon at, for example, at midnight everywhere. They're experiencing a full moon, so they know they can't go out, mice and things like that, or hawks will grab them, or barn owls. So maybe see if there's some activity going on that you didn't notice. I love this time of night when it's comfortable outside, even when you're bundled up in the winter. After midnight to 5 o'clock, I've done a lot of stargazing in my life, and there's just a surreal feel to it, almost alien. You can really kind of feel like you're standing on a planet, watching celestial mechanics happen right before your very eyes. A moon is spinning around another planet, and we happen to be living on that planet. Imagine if we had all kinds of moons. All right, Mars has 2 moons, but they're very small. but still they go into the shadow of Mars occasionally. There's Bruno. Oh, it's in Ontario, Canada, actually. All right. Yeah, that was another gentleman I thought, well, uh, thank you for watching up there. We've got a Canadian citizen, Bill Whiting, that is a great volunteer here at our museum. All right, there we've got that picture. This shows you again the phases, all right, that Michael talked about. Uh, this is the partial phase, all right. It looks like a first quarter moon, all right, and except you don't have all of the great detail from the shadow. After all, this is all sunlight that's being reflected off the moon, but when the sun is behind us, it's like a lens filter on a camera, or filtering light through tea. All right, light tea maybe, and a light going through it on the other side on a white piece of paper would be this sort of color. So how red the blood red moon is depends on the atmosphere at the time. And several lunar eclipses have been done after. I remember Pinatubo, a big volcano, put a lot of ash in the air. Right, any volcanoes have been erupting around the world will contribute to the reddish of this. Now, over history, like I was saying about what does a caveman think about this, and then it goes away. And so it's beyond their control. They don't understand the laws of physics yet. So, but back in the day of the, let's say 15th century, 1400s, let's even go back to just 1100, 1200. Explorers like Christopher Columbus knew and navigated and knew by the stars, and they knew the phenomenon of the sky had a rhythm to it. And these eclipses, just like these solar eclipses, when the moon passes in front of the sun, could be predicted with pretty good accuracy. And it's said that maybe Columbus saved his life from when he landed on Haiti or Dominican Republic, wherever it was, from being killed by natives, because he knew an eclipse was going to happen, and he told the chief of that native tribe he was going to make the moon disappear. And when he did, they begged him to make it come back. And see, he had an hour to do it, to cajole them. So there's a lot of stories like that through history where astronomical events have played a part in turns of history, and there's some good books in the library about that. I won't digress to that. Gary Gerald says hi. Good to see you, Gary, and Doug Forrest. I see you. Did you see your times up there, Doug? He's very fortunate to not lose a lot of sleep, because this is also the time of the night where, do I stay up or do I take a nap and get up? And then how in the heck am I going to get through Friday? So you all stay curious about that. That'll be a curious show Friday. We're hoping to have Jim Niehaus here with, and if not, I'm definitely going to have Tom on with me here. And Jim Niehaus, who is he, you ask? Well, he's like the godfather of the IMAX camera that John Grunsfeld had in his hands, as well as astronaut Joe Tanner when they were spacewalking, fixing the Hubble telescope. That's who Mr. Jim Niehaus is, who I've never met and looking forward to. He lives nearby, so maybe he'll be a frequent guest and even a volunteer here. That's up to you, Tommy. But no, I understand he's a great guy, and just he's one of the world's experts in the IMAX camera, and he is going to be part of our panel at Shuttle Fest, which is only 40 more tickets left, but that's what we're doing tomorrow. All right. Here is that first bite, Michael Bruno, where it's just going into the edge of the cone of shadow of the Earth. All right, very fascinating when this happens. If you know physics, this is the umbra, umbra, Latin for shadow. Penumbra is the before it, and it's a little bit fainter, and it takes a trained eye and years of looking like me to know that you're in the penumbra, and you'll notice maybe that the craters are a little bit dimmer and better contrast on there. Now, you photographers out there, this is with a 600 millimeter lens, a 2x doubler on a 300 millimeter. That's why it's not super sharp, but it's on a tripod. It's probably 400 ISO at f8 or f5.6 at 500th of a second. All right, the full moon at 400 ISO is f8 at 500th of a second at 300 millimeter. So you double it, you lose a little bit of light. So, but the beauty of you all living in the 21st century and me living half my life in the 19th century or 20th century, I mean, is I was shooting film for a lot of these, all right? And you don't know. You can look and fine tune. This is actually a little hot, too much exposure, actually, or you could Photoshop that. But I did that to bring out the shadow as you see it take its first bite. And you can go find an app for that where it'll show you exactly on the moon where you're looking at. But I guarantee you, I didn't write down the exact times this starts because I wanted to get you hooked on, if you want to get a little sleep and get up, fine. But the whole thing starts about an hour before the totality starts. So here's 12:55 a.m. So about 1 o'clock, somewhere about 1:15 will be the start of the bite because half of it is immersed there. And then it's all in at 2:26. All right. Let's go to the next slide, please. There you are, halfway through the eclipse. And it happens pretty quick, but it's fun to look through binoculars at this phase because sometimes you can see structure, you can see craters and mountains in the eclipsed area of our lunar, and there's why I'm showing you. That's two different exposures. Let's say this is a 60th of a second, and maybe this one is 1/125th of a second, maybe. Play around with it in your digital world and then settle on what you want. There's all kinds of ways for you. I know many of you are even more adept at a camera maybe than I am in taking time exposures. Okay, but I'm going to give you some ideas that you don't have to use the big picture. Okay, but it is cool to look through binoculars at that's Tycho Brahe, very prominent crater. You'll see it in the rays, and to be standing on the moon during a lunar eclipse. My God, would that be something for astronauts on a base to see that? And there you are. We got that phase there. Oh, I guess I went backwards. Well, there's a stargazing scene. This is January 20th, 2019, when I lived on Merritt Island, behind the bowling alley there on 3rd Street, for you those know the area there. I've got a red light over here, a red bulb in just a lamp, so I can read my charts and everything comfortably without it ruining my dark adapted eyes somewhat in the backdrop. And make yourself comfortable. There's and this is going to be way high overhead at that time of night. And that's my binoculars mount, and over there, no, that's my camera there, and there, of course, a telescope, a 8-inch Schmidt Cassegrain that is pretty sweet to use. That's why I took that other picture with up there. And I say, if record yourself out there at these events. I just I had to have it on a tripod, probably about a half a second, whatever. It's not very big in the sky, okay? That you can cover up the moon with your little finger. I talk about that all the time. It's half a degree across. So is the sun. Though they look like they're the size of a basketball at arm's length up there. Here's the Orion Nebula in the power lines, all right? You see the 3 stars of the belt and the 2 stars up here for the shoulders of Orion and his knees on the bottom, very bright stars. That other bright star is Procyon, okay? This is pretty much the same scenario that's going to happen tomorrow night. No, wait a minute, what am I talking about? Tonight, yeah. That it's going to be up, I don't know if it's in, I could look it up later, but I will. I think the moon is definitely in Leo, probably, I think it is. So it's moved more away from this. But that's Leo the Lion. That'll be good. It's a backward question mark. There again, about 600 millimeter lens, held steady. Use your timer, okay? Because that, even when you mash the trigger on your camera, that sends a little bit of vibration into it that can give you just a hint of unsharpness. I can name all these features. I love that little bright one over here on the far left side. That is Schroeder's Valley, a site that Apollo 19 probably would have landed at. Uh, and for everyone at the top, see the oval up at the top at 1 o'clock. Nod yes. Everyone sees that there. Okay, that is where Firefly's blue ghost is, in that round oval at the top, Mare Crisium. In fact, it's kind of on the left up there. I don't know if I can point to it with a pen. No, I can't. But anyway, you all see that round. And then at the right below it, that big area there, that's Mare Tranquility. And it's along this area right here of Mare Tranquility where Apollo 11 landed. Okay. And then Apollo 14 over here. So it's fun to look at that, get a moon map, download a moon map. There's crater, Tycho, very young crater, maybe 50 million years old. It's splayed stuff all over as it hit, like throwing a snowball in there. And yeah, Cliff Watson says he mowed the yard at my house. That's right, you did, buddy. Good morning to you, buddy. And Elena, hello, Elena. Sorry you're not going to see the eclipse of the moon, but we will have some good pictures of it posted on it tomorrow, I'm sure. And this is again the picture I took, that really one of my best pictures ever because of the beautiful uh, colors that are just all through of this. So, but Mark, I don't have a telescope. I know, you told me that. So, uh, that again is about the 600 millimeter. A little fuzzy, not as sharp, but yet you can do what you want. So go find something around the house, something around the neighborhood, something you can drive to, okay, that you feel safe to drive at 3 in the morning or 1 in the morning, get set up. This is our Apollo monument with the moon in the foreground, and the moon, that is the eclipse of the moon, May 15th, 2022. All right, and as you see those little cottony clouds there, I waited for them to break open there. And this is a shot, and Tom here's a professional photographer, and I thought like, oh, that's not going to look very cool, you know. Heck if it doesn't to me. All right, I think it looks very cool, but it's very small. The green on this stainless steels come from the traffic light over there on US 1 North. All right, so think outside the box. You got a camera or make a sketch, painting. You got a lot of time, you people that love to piddle around with oils, watercolors, or charcoal, maybe your medium. Maybe you get an idea to do something with seashells, mosaics. I'm driving at. Think outside the box because this is your moon. Nobody owns this eclipse. All right, you can do whatever you want with it. See a comment there by Tom Celentano. He says, even if I could get up at that hour, I might look suspicious being in the parking lot of my apartment looking up with binoculars. That's a great point, Tom. I have definitely been, police have come up to where we've stargazed and wanted to know what we were doing. I had was pulled over with a truck, kind of an old Ford truck full of telescopes that were on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and the police of Boone, North Carolina, stopped us at 3 in the morning. And the first comments to him, to the driver, was, "What the hell you got in the back of your truck?" And the driver just said telescopes. And yes, it looks. But the cool thing is, you're going to show that person something that they didn't think they were going to see. Look through my telescope, look up what's going on there. So that's a. But yes, one, you want to be safe, okay, and you don't want to do it alone. All right, you want to have somebody with you, even in your own backyard. Okay, I don't care where you live. You know, there's prowlers everywhere. There's people. Not everybody on the block's honest and whatnot. But I'm just saying, be safe, be comfortable, have a lawn chair ready tonight before you go inside to retire. I may try to take a cat nap. I doubt it, but because we got so much going on here with people like Tom Usiak in town. But so yes, good point. Thank you for bringing that up and letting me share that. You want to be safe. You do not want to be on private property. I'm thinking of all the things I've done wrong, Tom Celentano. Okay, you don't want to be think you're on somebody's farm property and on the side of the road, and they come up and wonder what the hell you doing here. And but I can tell you some stories, but it's a fun hobby, and getting out at night is definitely has some very humanistic, sensuous feel that I don't think you get any other time of the day. Thank you for the compliment, Steve, on this picture. I know Steve's a photographer. Here's something that I did not do. A friend of mine, Dave, up in North Carolina, took this picture, a long exposure. Tom Usiak, look how gorgeous this is. This is the eclipsed moon next to the Hyades star cluster. Okay, and that's the planet Mars up above it up there. Okay. Uh, I'm not sure which star cluster that is. I said the Hades. It is a star cluster of stars, but that and all the stars. But he was up on his mountain in North Carolina, outside of Hickory in North Carolina, and taking that picture. Dave is a fabulous photographer, and of course I forgot his last name because I didn't write it down up there. But this is the work that the real professionals will be doing that are in dark areas and can massage the heck out of it. And I would say this is probably about a 100 millimeter lens, maybe a 135. It looks too much for 200. Okay. But it's a little more than a 50, probably from an 85 to 110 millimeter. And I've got a real sweet Vivitar 110 millimeter in my camera bag I've had for 30 years. And particularly with a motor drive and some other techniques in Photoshop, you can really have some fun with this eclipse. All right, so we're getting close to the end here. And another thing that you can do is uh, um, get something in the foreground. Okay. Uh, this is this is a good shot just as it is, but if you get over by the palm tree as I did here and get something in the foreground, get your kids in the foreground. Think outside the box. Get the dog in front of the foreground. Something crazy. Blood moon eclipse. I guess you could have a Godzilla vampire in front of it there, CB. Give you some ideas to have some fun with it. You could have uh, just go wild with it. And if you do, send me your pictures. MARQ at AmericanSpaceMuseum.org. Gil Plummer, friend of mine in the Brevard Astronomical Society, he did that. It's probably like a half a second exposure. Obviously, there's a star nearby. I'd say that's about a 200 millimeter look. I love the trees around there, and they're just getting enough light from the neighbor's porch light or the street light on there. This light here on this shot, I hit it with a red flashlight. Just kind of just doused it with the red flashlight because your camera lens is open and it's like finger painting. You can splash anything on you want. But I love that shot of my astronomy buddy Gil. So, any questions out there, Marty?
Nope.
You sent a picture of the eclipsed moon in Uranus. He did. Cliff did. Really rare in 2018. Yeah, there's all kinds of things you can find to do that. I'm glad that you all are watching. Elena, Cliff Watson, Carlton Bailey, Gary Gerald, Doug Forrest, Michael Bruno up there in Ontario, Canada, Tom Celentano. Let's put the times up there for everybody again. Where are those at? Well, 3 o'clock on the East Coast, you can't miss it there. So those of you that come in late, Hawaii, boy, they've got it made. In Alaska too, it's wouldn't lose any sleep there. But they're on California to Sacramento. It's 11:26 is when the totality begins. Mitch Rothman, glad that you're there. I'll give you a call here. We'll send you a picture because we're probably going to eat some delicious Italian food tonight. Is that the plan, Tommy?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Uh, and Tom, why don't you come in over here? Why don't you sneak in here, buddy? Yeah, I was gonna have Marty think. Come on there and sit down here. You all newbies have heard the name Tom Usiak and me say to Marty to talk on the Usiak family microphone. Well, here's Mr. Tom Usiak. God bless you, man. And he's one of the new best friends I've made in my life. And when you get old and meet new friends and we gel with we do with space, it's kind of special, isn't it, Tom?
It is. It's always nice to be here.
So tell everybody where you live and what you're going to do here this weekend.
I was born and raised in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I live currently in Millersville, Pennsylvania, which is about 3 miles outside of Lancaster. I'm here to do some prep work for Shuttle Fest, which is next about 4 weeks, right?
Yes, we'll be ending it on Sunday, April 13th. About 40 tickets left. The rest, that ain't gonna be no problem. I probably got 40 volunteers and comps I've handed out. So
we're going to have a great show. We have astronauts. This is the first multi-day presentation. Shuttle Fest was always a one-day project. And I'm going to be handling a panel with my brother and Carlton Bailey and Jim Niehaus and 2 astronauts, Joe Tanner and John Grunsfeld. And we're going to be talking about all the photography, pre-launch, launch, and on-orbit activity. And it should be a very interesting panel.
Tom, we've talked about it when it occurs, but your first launch you covered was as a cub photographer for your college newspaper.
Right. I was the first mission that I photographed as a member of the media was Apollo 15 in July of '71, and I was a college student then.
Yeah. And we're going to be celebrating the 50th anniversary of Apollo 15 here on July 19th at the American Space Museum. I've got something else planned already a month before Shuttle Fest, but we're going to have, that's our 10th anniversary of our museum being in this building that we own. And we're still making payments on it, but we're halfway through our mortgage on this.
That's
and
great.
Some other exciting things. And so I hope that I can get you guys to come here for it on there. How many shuttle launches did you, talk about your team that you put together?
Well, for the shuttle program, and even in the later Apollo missions, we had a 4-person team. It started as a 3-person team, and then we added a member when the shuttle program started. And we developed, actually, Bob, Preston, Steve Nolte developed our remote camera system. And Mark and I, and actually all 4 of us deployed them already, but mostly Mark and I deployed the cameras. And that's STS-26.
September 29th, 1988. Return
to flight.
And there's you guys' signature there. We've had Steve Nolte on here before. I've not met Bob Preston.
Yeah, Bob's the only one that.
But they figured out, mechanical way to do things remotely with Hasselblad cameras, the same 500 cm that were on the surface of the moon right now. But when you like to get your hands on those lenses, they've been laying on the moon for 50 years.
Right.
And
they only brought the magazines back for weight.
Yeah, on there. So, well, great. Get to meet Tom here. We talk about you every day. This is great, and put the people on faces on the people there. And Steve Jokums met you at the Shuttle Fest, and he's jealous that we are going to Zarella's. And we had a good lasagna that night, didn't we, Steve? And Carlton Bay says, "Hey, old man, kitties are sitting by the door waiting to greet you, especially the new one."
You have to get my oxygen mask first.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
We'll get the oxygen tank delivered before you get over there. Okay, on there. And Cliff Watson says, "Hi Tom, I met you and you used my camera at Shuttlefest, watching the launch at night." And thank you, Elena. At Kahara from in South Africa. She says amazing. So, yeah, I'll tell you what, you don't know how amazing it is, Elena, how this man and his brother have introduced this museum to such quality people like Chris Callie, John Tilko. We're going to meet Jim Niehaus and
Marie Fullerton.
Marie Fullerton. Yes, Marie. Gosh, Gordon Fullerton's wife. I owe her a phone call. I hadn't talked to her in a while, and just on and on. Particularly Chris Callie, and now we've got Mitch Rothman to complete our little
Great.
6 degrees of everything that knew Chris.
A great group of people.
And you know what? They all love our museum. They wouldn't fiddle around with this museum just because of me. They're here in spite of me. So you're stuck with me a little while, but I like being the stir stick the swizzle stick that stirs the drink, because we have got such an intelligent group of people back in this museum. And we've got one on our board too, Marty Winkle, that's on the board there. Marty, you got a Marty Winkle question for Tom Usiak, putting you on the spot, but just want you to use that family microphone that they bought for us to say hi.
Well, I said hi earlier, and I already asked Tom all my questions. We're talking about a photograph opportunity during Shuttlefest. We can hopefully have the 4 astronauts pose sometime early on in Shuttlefest. There'll be a space between, there'll be like 2 space and 2 more. And then if you want your picture with them, we'll take your picture later on. And then Mark Usiak will go ahead and Photoshop them into that picture. And it looks like we're going to have a paired picture with which orbiter or which Hubble mission?
That was Hubble mission 31, and that was Discovery.
Yeah, and that'll be the background.
Yeah, it was a sunset shot with the xenon lights on.
Well, that sounds like some people helping us raise money at this fundraiser too. So we're going to charge for that. You're going to deliver the pictures to them or to their phone or something like that. Just
By
email
email.
it to you.
Right.
Marty, that was an excellent thing he talked about to me very recently here. And Marty's also in charge of our silent auction. And we're going to announce our rates for the autographs and what this picture will cost Monday. I want to get some more input on it. I'm 4 weeks out. But I want y'all to understand, I have to do a little fleecing of the flock, because this is a fundraiser for our museum. And we need the money for not just general funds, but for things like improved equipment for Shuttlefest. That's where you all met Gabriel Rothblatt, our executive director of the U.S. Space Walk of Fame Foundation, and technically my boss. We get along great, and that's where he's the money guy, and he tells me how much money we got and what we got to do with it. But Shuttlefest is going to make money thanks to the generosity of so many of you out there, none more so than Ken Havicott in his business, and he and his wife Teresa's financial support, and the Ramanujan family, Mal Barat and Rama, who are financing several of the astronauts stay here. We've got that covered, gratefully so. But we will be asking for more generosity from you as you come and enjoy what I hope someday will be maybe like Shuttlefest 8 if we get there. They'll say, wow, you should have been there at Shuttlefest 4. Because Shuttlefest 8 will probably be at the Westin Hotel, the 5-star hotel being built on Cocoa Beach. And if we're lucky enough to have Shuttlefest 10 will fall on April 12th, 2031. Any anniversary there?
STS-1.
The 50th anniversary of STS-1. So I'm praying that Bob Crippen is eating his right foods and stuff like that, so we can have him involved in that. That'd be awesome. Bob would be in his 90s then. He's like 86 now, I think. So anyway, look, y'all, any questions out there for Tommy? Tom, I tried to steer him into some photography tips for the eclipse. You have anything to add to that?
No, you covered that very well. I'm not a accomplished eclipse photographer at all, but I admire other people's work when it comes to that. I've
Thank you.
never really done much of that.
Well, as far as these montages you saw, they're not on one frame, okay, though they used to be. These are photoshopped, and there's a lot you can do with Photoshop. Yeah, like I said, this is an opportunity for you to let me put that. I'll take that off there. Yeah, that's good, Marty. Just wanted to end the show here with encourage you to get up. Hope it's clear where you're at, and it's worth getting up and getting back down. Marty, we got a question.
Michael Bruno is asking, does Tommy have a favorite shot of his?
The favorite shot of yours? Here's one of his beautiful.
It's close between that and a remote launch shot of STS-41. Everything just went together for that one. The lighting, the exposure, and it's a closer in shot. This is a wide view. The 41 shot.
You'll bring that with you. You can find it tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I have it here now. It's in the computer somewhere. But yeah, we'll who asked that question, Marty?
Michael Bruno.
Michael, we'll have it here tomorrow, and
up in Canada.
We'll let you take a look at it and see what you think.
And that was our Miami friend is Mayran there. He's one of our Bob Mayran. Thank you, Bob, for finding us. Bob actually said he's glad the algorithm worked to get it to him. And I don't know a search engine optimization thing from a Phillips screwdriver, really. But I do know the difference between an f-stop and a bus stop. Okay. So thank you all for watching today. Tom Celentano loves all your launch photos. Tom's done a few himself, I said. Nick Sedler, good to see you. Looking forward to the lunar eclipse tonight. Thanks for the show. Thank you, Nick. If you got a picture and you want to share it with me, marq@americanspacemuseum.org. So, Tom, thank you for all you do. You know, we have a lot of fun together. We're going to have some fun here this short weekend here with you. And Marty, anything else over there on our Streamlabs production console?
Nope, we're good, Mark.
All right. Well, tomorrow, I hope that we can get Jim Niehaus here, who is the godfather of the IMAX camera. At least I'm calling him that until he tells me not to. But no, very experienced man with this, over 30 IMAX documentaries and so forth, I understand, and your friend for a long time. A lot of people in this Space Fest community that's soon to be a Shuttle Fest community know Jim Niehaus.
Yeah, I know Jim was up Ponce Inlet or something up toward the.
Where he lives?
Oh, no, he had a great shot in Facebook with the lighthouse up there, and he was aiming to get the streak in the lighthouse, but the scrub last night, so I don't know if his plans are.
Last night's scrub messed up a lot of wonderful photos. There were 8 photographers. He was
planning to do that or not again.
A block away at the City Hall, 8 photographers were there because that's where their app told them to stand to see the rocket go in front of the moon.
Right in front of the moon.
Well, thank you all so much, and we'll see you tomorrow with Tom Usiak and hopefully Jim Niehaus of IMAX camera fame. Until then, I'm Mark Marquette saying we can't wait to see you in our museum to bridge the space between us.